particular situation is quite laudable. Actually, your subject is such that it requires outdoors. Means botany, we are sitting inside the room is actually a very odd situation. But all of us are in such a place where we'll have to pursue our interests, our subjects within the limits of the available virtual world. But for a long time to come, what I've gathered is that botany has been practicing the the method of presentations, the method of projects, and the online slide, online material. So this is merely a continuum for the subject of botany, and this preservation technique which you are going to learn today is a very popular one, and I am aware that there is a huge industry outside for people to right up to the jewelry designing. I think this is a very important value addition for our students. I congratulate our department for this particular initiative. Thank you, Jayashree Madam.
Thank you, thank you.
My name is Suresh Kale. I am here to introduce our today's guest speaker, Dr. Suchindra Datta ma'am. First, I welcome Dr. Suchindra madam for this program. She is currently working as assistant professor at RD and SH National College since June 2006 to till date. Dr. Suchindra madam did BSc in 1991 as a special subject Environmental Science, Bombay University, and MSc in Botany with Taxonomy of Spermatophyta in 1993 from University of Mumbai. She did PhD in Botany, Angiosperm Taxonomy from Blatter Herbarium, University of Mumbai in 1997. She discovered a new species of Goniothalmus bloom. Dr. Suchindra Datta has various recognition. She is fellow of Linnean Society of London and Indian Associate of Angiosperm Taxonomy. She is nominated member of the Virtual Committee in Nomenclature section during the International Botanical Congress, and nominated member of IUCN and SSC and IUCN CEC. Also, she is nominated member of a board of director of MNPS constituted by MMRDA, Government of Maharashtra, March 2021 onwards. Dr. Suchindra madam is a recognized PhD guide from University of Mumbai. Currently, 2 students are registered under her supervision. She is associate editor of Journal of Pharmacognosy and Phytochemistry. Her contribution to the field of nomenclature is immense, to say the least. She has completed 4 research projects and has visited various herbaria in India and abroad for studying the plants. She published 22 papers in peer-reviewed journal. She attended 29 conferences, 14 international, 13 national, and 2 state level. She has developed herbarium at RD and SH National College since 2015-16. Total number of species are more than 950. We are indeed honored to have such eminent personality speaking to us. Now I request Dr. Suchindra madam to share information about today's topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayashree madam, for inviting me here to share my experience with the young botanist of Sathe College. Thank you, Rajwade sir, and all in the Department of Botany, Sathe College. So, I will start with what is plant taxonomy. What do we do in it? We try to identify, we try to classify, we decide what should be the correct name, what is the distribution, its ecological pattern, and its useful, so on and so forth. From where do we get all these information? Of course, from our field knowledge, from our books, but herbarium becomes one source from where we can get all these information And the concept of herbarium is not new. It started in 15th century with C.L. Gaines, student, and it is the first reported herbarium. Here you all can see this is the herbarium building, which is attributed to Luca Ghini, who is an Italian physician. Let me tell you, at those time, botanists used to be the doctors. They are passionate in collecting the plants, and they used to make the herbarium. And that time, the herbarium is not like as today. It used to be bound in the form of a book. So that time it used to be called as horti sicci. Sicci means dry. It's a Latin word. Hortus means garden. So they used to call it a dry garden. So how do I define herbarium? According to Fosbach and Sachet, it is a modern herbarium is a great filing system for information about plants, both primary in the form of actual specimens and secondary in the form of published information, pictures, and recorded notes. So it is a great data bank on plants. So these are some of the photographs which I have collected from the net. So right from collection of the plant, pressing of the plant, processing it, studying it, identifying and stacking in the cupboards. These are some of the herbarium cupboards. This is from Blatter herbarium. My right hand side picture is from Blatter herbarium, which is made up of wooden cupboard. This is in some other herbarium, maybe in CNH at Calcutta, where the herbarium cupboard is made up of steel. Aaj ka din mein what we do is we use plywood, but mind you, we should not be using the plywood because it attracts a lot of insects and other pests. So the better thing is the proper wood which is treated properly, or the properly treated steel cabinets. This is how I will be discussing later how do we make the herbarium sheet, but this is some of the information which I could show. This is some of the, they call it compactors in the other countries. So these are the lever from, they help you to open the cupboards. So let us come back. Is it a living organism? Many of us feel herbarium is a living organism. It is regarded as the living collection of living organisms, and it grows mainly by the enrichment of collections and data through who collects it. It is the staff of the herbarium or anybody else who visit the herbarium, who are involved in the botanical study and all. So concept of development of herbarium, it is a 450 years old. As I told, the first herbarium of the world started in 1545 in University of Padua, Italy. Initially mounted on papers of varying size. That time there was no standard size, and till up to 19th century people used to prefer to call it as horti sicci. As I told you, sicci means dry, horti refers to the garden. So it is used to be called as a dry garden, but it is a voucher herbarium specimen. If you talk to any internationally known scientist, they will refer to the herbarium sheet as a voucher specimen. In the code also it is referred as voucher specimen. So a voucher herbarium specimen is a praised plant sample deposited for future reference. It is just not a mounted specimen. It gives you a lot of information for the research and other studies. It supports the research work which may be examined to verify for the identification of species. I will be talking on all these things. I'm just giving you some of the definition. So why is voucher material needed? Why is herbarium specimen needed? It is for the classification, as it is constantly changing. You might be many of you, I see you are from first year BSc, second year BSc, third year BSc, and many of you must be feeling every day the plant names are changing. Why are they so? And when we were a student, we used to have difficulty in remembering so many names because we used to get irritated. What these people do, they don't have any other work than changing the names. Why do the name change? It is just because we make mistake in giving the name, in attributing a name in the first place. What we do is we follow some books, we follow some herbarium specimen, but secondary reference. I make it a very strong statement. We basically work on the secondary reference. Many of us do not bother to refer to any primary work of our own. I will give you some example. When I was a student, I was taught a plant, and you also might have studied it, something called pancratium something. What do you use the plant in Amaryllidaceae family? In your first year BSc, which plant do you study as an example? Can anybody tell me? Let it be a dialogue, not a monologue. Which plant do we study for first year BSc Amaryllidaceae family? At least second year, third year, or other students can answer. Can I get one answer, please? Let it be wrong, I don't mind. Which plant we study for Amaryllidaceae family in first year BSc? Can anybody give me some idea, please? Unmute yourself and say. Any idea? Some pancratium something we do, or kya karte?
Pancratium caribium, I guess.
Pancratium caribium, very good. Yes, we do. Now open a standard flora. Open a standard flora, I said. Let us search if we can get that species anywhere. I don't think we will be getting a species. And I also have studied the same plant in my first year BSc. I studied in 1989. You are today you are in TY, might be 2 years ago you have done your first year BSc, you have studied the same plant. And none of us, and I taught the same to my students. I myself, today I am talking big thing, but I have also taught the same to my students. Why? Because we have never bothered to check the identity. Have we bothered to go to any standard herbarium and check which plants are there for Amaryllidaceae family? Never. Neither our teachers have done. We don't, not to blame anybody, but this is the tendency what we do. But we have drastically gone wrong. Another example I will give you. We have been studying the plant Hibiscus rosa sinensis, and how do I write the name? How do I write the name? Hibiscus rosa sinensis. Can anybody write it on the chat box, please? Can anybody write the name on the chat box? How do we write? And then I will tell you why am I discussing it today. All of us write. How do we write? What is the right way to write the word Hibiscus rosa sinensis? Somebody please write it on the chat box. Yes? Anyone? Write it on the chat box. So what, till then, let me just continue. You write then. Okay. Hibiscus, somebody has written Hibiscus rosa sinensis. Why that hyphen is there? Why have you written that hyphen? All of you are writing that Hibiscus rosa sinensis with the hyphen. Very good. I am impressed. But why are we using that word hyphen? That hyphen. सब लोग हाइफन लिख रहे हैं. क्यों लिख रहे हैं हम लोग हाइफन? क्योंकि हमें बोला गया है. Do you know the exact reason? Do you know? Yes or no? Why are we writing this hyphen? Yes, all of you are writing. Very good. But why? Somebody, okay. If I see this one name, I can see here this Hibiscus rosa. There is a space in between, and then hyphen, and then sinensis. There has somebody who has written Hibiscus rosa hyphen sinensis and no space in between. What is right? Is there any reason why we should be using the space or not? So all these are depending on the study, which should be reflected on our herbarium sheet. Why we write, how should we write? So the right one is without any space. Why we are writing hyphen? Because Rosa and sinensis are two different words. Linnaeus started the binomial nomenclature system. Here, if I use hibiscus, rosa, and sinensis, these are three different words, but we have to follow binomials. So rosa and sinensis, we are joined by using the hyphen so that it is become binomial nomenclature. Now tell me one thing, if we don't use the word use the hyphen, what will happen? If I just write like this, hibiscus, I'm just writing the short form, hibiscus rosa sinensis. I am not separating it, but I am writing these two. I am joining it. Even then now I am following binomial nomenclature system. Why am I doing it? Okay, let us go by all these things. I will first start with the what we are starting with. Now see here, these are some of the herbarium sheets from various other herbariums. This is from K, that is Q herbarium. If we read it like this, specimen K stands for the acronym which is given at the time of registration to the index herbarium. All standard herbarium has to be registered with the index herbarium situated in or operated from New York Botanical Garden, New York Herbarium. K stands for Q herbarium, and the rest of the numbers are the accession number which is given to the specimen. Now I write here, you see family, current name, collector's number, whatever, all these informations are given. So this is one of the herbarium specimen. This is the herbarium specimen. Here you see how many specimens are there. 1, 2, 3, 4 specimens are there. At that time, the code was not in place, so it was allowed. And here, Flora of Manipur, the label is put up on the left hand side top corner, and here there are some barcode. So all these informations, all these speak about lot of information. This barcode is pasted on K's, some number is given here, K some number. So this is one specimen, this is another specimen. This specimen is donated by India to Q because it is Flora of Manipur. Okay, next I see it is the George Clifford Herbarium, which Linnaeus had followed. It is in London Natural History Museum. This herbarium is situated here. If you see, the herbarium used to be like this, decorated, and many of these are the type material for all this. So this is the herbarium sheet. Here also you see the barcode is there, here the name is there, some annotation is there. Annotation means something written on the herbarium sheet by the taxonomist who are studying. And okay, I'll skip this, and then you see there are something written on this. Why I am showing you, when you are also making the herbarium sheet, all these informations will be required to be put, and the barcode. When today we are talking about the e-herbarium, and the barcode is must. There is a scale which is must to give you an idea what is the exact size of it. Now, many of the original drawings, this is from Hortus Indicus Malabaricus, this is from Curtis Botanical Magazine, this is from some other book. So these are the original drawings of Saraka Ashoka. Now tell me one thing, you say Saraka Ashoka and Saraka Indica, are they same or different? Saraka Indica and Saraka Ashoka, what do you feel? They are same or they are different plant? Yes, anyone? Anyone? Saraka Indica and Saraka Ashoka, बहुत बार हम लोग ये plant के बारे में बोलते हैं. Ashoka Rishta, this is one of the important medicines, and we write the name Saraka Indica. Sometimes we write Saraka Ashoka. Which one is correct? Are both of them synonymous to each other? How will you know all these things? All these will be understood by the studying the herbarium specimen and authentic literature. These are some of the drawings which are taken as an authentic voucher specimen for asserting the type specimen. So this is one of the type of some specimen, and here this is a Hyoscyamus, if I am not wrong, Hyoscyamus niger, which is this is the lectotype of that specimen. So when you are asserting a type to one specimen, that becomes a special collection. You need to take utmost care of those, because they are the ones which bear the which has the significance. They are the name bearing specimen, so they are the type specimens. Then some of the figures, some of the photographs I am omitting. Now here one of the specimens we have discovered from our herbarium, National College Herbarium, by our students only. So here when we were studying, what are the characters we were studying? Some of these characters, they have some important, you study the leaf, you study root, you study flower, fruit, various things. One of the important characters which I want to show, that the movement of the flower right from the bud stage to the last stage of the flower. It starts from here, this is the bud, and then you see how the flower moves, and this is one of the significant characters in some case of the some of the groups, that how the flower moves when they during different part of their life cycle. So this is one of the important. Another important thing of the herbarium, so I say it is the repository. Why it is the repository? See, one of the example which I am giving now is cinnamon. All of us eat cinnamon. Yes or no? दालचीनी हम सब खाते हैं नहीं खाते हैं? खाते हैं ना? So दालचीनी में कौन सा दालचीनी real है? So we had done a study of collecting 10 different samples collected from different markets only, and those which we have studied, right from sample from Gulf, sample from some of the shops in Bombay, some of the shops in Kerala, some of the shops in USA. So we have collected samples from various, and we did the HPTLC of it, and the red color tells you the coumarin percentage. And if you see on the dalchini packet, it is written, if you eat more, what will happen? Liver problem will come. But real dalchini will never give you any problem, because they do not have coumarin, and permissible limit of coumarin to for human consumption is 1 point something. And here if you see in my sample, the least one is 2.43. so none of them are the probably the real dalchini. Now what is real dalchini? Is Cinnamomum verum. Cinnamomum verum, and what we get in the market are everything is different. Now here comes the importance of the herbarium. Here comes the importance of the voucher specimen from which we are collecting, and whether we are using the right material for our consumption. I have started from the use, and then I will go to the actual how we make garbage, and then it will make sense. Otherwise it will become, why should we study that? So if we use the right material, so for any study, for any research, you must make a herbarium specimen for which you are doing the chemical sampling or any other studies. So voucher specimen is must. So another study is, I have collected this saffron from Kistawar, which is known as the land of saffron, from Jammu and Kashmir, and recently in 2020 they have got the GI tag. So our Kashmir sample, Jammu Kashmir sample has got the GI tag. So this is the authentic sample. This is the Kistawar is the land of saffron. Now when we go and buy, we need to check this funnel shaped stigma. It is it's a very simple test. We need to show, and generally you have to see the stigma, sorry, this style and 3 stigma. You need to see that. If you don't use this much part, then the quality of the saffron is not very good. So we should be using only the stigma, not the style, not the lower part of the stigma, anything that funnel shape part. Okay, now another example I want to give. This is the all the samples of citrus fruit. Now which is the lemon? Which one is the lemon? Can you see this slide? Can all of you see the slide?
Yes,
Yes
ma'am.
or no? Yes. Okay. So
Yes,
which
ma'am.
is the real lemon? Can you tell me? Which one will you buy as lemon? Tell me the number. Tell me the number. Here only one is the lemon space, real lemon. Remaining all are different species of citrus. Which one you will buy as lemon? Tell me. Which number? Yes? Yes, bolo? Which one you will buy as a citrus lemon? Citrus lemon is the botanical name for real lemon. Generally, we go and buy the first specimen जो हमें मार्केट में अच्छा दिखता है, बड़ा दिखता है. Is that real lemon? Or number 4 is the real lemon, number 6 is the real lemon? That's confusing. So one need to know which is the real lemon. So citrus lemon, one need to have the voucher specimen deposited in a herbaria and to study for further. Now, because what we buy, let me tell you, what we buy, they are not real lemon. We buy something else, some other varieties or CV cultivated varieties or some other form of it. Okay, so one need to know about it. This is, I just found it interesting. Somebody had shown me this note. I have seen this note. This is a currency note of Swiss government. In they have with regard to that sexual system given by the Linnaeus, they have made it a currency note. Our Indian government or in India, this has never been of any importance. So botany is the subject, and that too taxonomy is the subject which is the most neglected. I liked it so much, so I have used it for the presentation. And this is the herbarium specimen of Linnea borealis. This is not from the net. Someone who has visited and seen this specimen, he has shown me this photograph. He has taken the photograph and shown me. So this is Linnea borealis. This herbarium specimen is, this plant is named after Linnaeus by one of us. So here some of the early herbaria, list of some of the herbaria. These are some of the Indian herbarium and the number of specimens. I will share this presentation. You can see this. Now, what is the function or utility of a herbarium? As I said, it is the herbarium storehouse of the material and the data which is used for identification to find out its distribution, checking nomenclature, monographic work and revision work, etc. It serves as a fundamental resource for identification of all plants of the globe. Aids in teaching and all biological resources, and its source of material for investigations on anatomy, ecology, chemistry, molecular biology, pharmacognosy, and environmental impact assessment. It is aids in assessment, cataloging, or economic plans. So do anything. You do any kind of information related to the plants, you have to have a you have to refer to the herbarium. And let me tell you, it is the much more cheaper, economically cheaper, inexpensive to work on herbarium data. For as a student, I am not talking about the researchers, but I am talking about the students. You can really do wonder to gather some information from the herbarium source, than, and it takes less time, less amount of money to gather some good information and to work on it. I am telling, especially for the undergraduate students, you can start your work like this. It aids in assessment of conservation status of any taxon. Let me tell you, just few days back in one of our IUCN meeting, we were discussing about IUCN status of many of the plants, and somebody asked, what is the IUCN status, what is the red list status of Mangifera indica, one of the commonest plant. And then we found that there is no work done on the such simple plants. There is no data available. Why? Because nobody has worked. And now when I started thinking of working on it, then we realized that we are really not having many of the original mango plant. I am not talking, we have lots of mango plants which are of different variety, horticultural variety, but which is the main original wild mango plant we are losing. And when I was talking with, I was visiting one of my students, Chaitanya is here, I was visiting her village for her PhD work. That time somebody said that this plant is becoming less and less because people have been using its wood for various purposes. And he informed that in their village, or in olden days in Maharashtra, people used to use only the wild mango leaf for toran and not of any other mango leaf. So this knowledge on cultural diversity is reducing today, and it can be understood by using we can strengthen our knowledge by referring to the herbarium specimen of mango. We really do not know, and it is difficult for me also when I'm thinking to do the red listing of wild Mangifera indica. I really do not know how many of them are there in Bombay in National Park. When we start, very few of them, I was informed that not much are remaining, or any other part of the state, I was told very few are remaining. So these are the importance of it. It does not, सब बोलेंगे क्या होता है, mango का plant वो होता है, but it's not such. We really have to look at it very carefully. Serves as a source for search of a new genetic material for improvement of cultivated stock. Today, if we have to work on the improvement of the cash crops, improvement of the wild edible food, so we need to go back to the wild relative. I will give you one example for which I was invited on a fellowship to Germany, that we had to find out one of the species of loofah. We had to find out if it is from India or it is from Australia. There was a question, and for which I was visiting that country. And later on we found that we have really not preserved that data. No herbarium specimen is available to provide the information that it is our Indian wild species. So, and there were dual origin, Australia and India. Australia has taken the lead over that species. So it is one of the loofah species. So it is very important to collect all the wild Indian, especially the endemic species. You need to collect the herbariums, the plant, and keep the herbarium specimen. Now, mind you, it is not you need to collect everything and leaving nothing in the field. No, you need to be very careful while collecting. You need not eradicate everything from the field. When I was a student, one of our trips, somebody collected, we had been to Mahabaleshwar, and there that time we have seen Balanaphora, one of the rare endemic endangered species. And one of my colleagues, he's supposed to be one of the teachers in one of the college. He may not even remember this incident. He collected all the Balanaphora. See, I have so much of Balanaphora, and we really wondered. Now I wonder what to do with that Balanaphora. That Balanaphora is lying in the cupboard, or maybe discarded also. So, but we have really taken out every important genetic information from that site. And not only when we eradicate one species, we really remove the information on all associated flora and fauna on that area. So one has to be very, very careful for that. It helps in development of computer database on plants and maintains active links to international network of systematic researchers. Lastly, it provides a platform for many international scientists to come discuss and interact with local scientists. Experts help in identifying the dubia. Dubia means doubtful specimens. So herbaria are not redundant. They are the modern, as the modern biologists think. Now, how do you go for it? I am omitting all these things. I will be rightly going for the how do you collect the herbarium. I have told you what do you get out of it. How do you collect? When you go to the field, you must be collecting the specimen at least 10 inches if it is a herb, shrub or tree which is having enough size. So at least 6 to 10 inches size, having the reproductive structure, means it has to have either flower or a fruit if it is a flowering plant. Otherwise, for fern, there has to be the reproductive structure. For bryophyte, there has to be the reproductive structures are there for lichens also. But first, I will be discussing about the flowering plants. You must be having flowers or fruits or anything along with the leaves. Okay, so you will be collecting that. You will be keeping it. While collecting, you need to number them. You need to put the tag. On the tag, there will be the name of the person, collector's name, only the initials, and a number has to be there. And you must write it only with the pencil. Never use pens while collecting and writing all those information, because pencil marks are long lasting, whereas pen marks, they do go, or you have to use a permanent marker pen. But pencil is the best. So you have to put a tag on the herbarium plant which you are collecting the specimen. Then you press it in the fold of the newspaper, and you have to change it till the plant becomes totally dry. You have to flatten it properly, expose all the part properly so that you can see it. This is for future use. So you can study the plant well. You have to press it properly, put the weight in the, uniformly. See here, I will show you. See here how you be stacking. First, you will be putting your plant in between the newspaper. Blotting paper is the best, and then in between some you will be putting some corrugated sheet so that the air will be passing, and then you will be tying it with some very tightly and keeping it. Now, when you are tying, this is the right way, A is the right way, B, the bulging like this, no, this is a very wrong way of collection. So pressing is the process of keeping the specimens between the absorbing paper under moderate pressure. All parts spread neatly, adaxial and abaxial, upper and lower surface shown folding. As if it is a bigger sample, you can give a shape as V or as N shape or as M shape as you feel. The main object of the pressing is to flatten and dry the specimen. Okay, now have you understood what did I say mean by V, N and M? Does anybody have any doubt, or you have understood the what do I mean by V shape, N shape, N shape? When you are collecting a long specimen, for example some palm or some longer specimen which you must be keeping, what do you do? How do you press it? Such a big specimen within the small fold of the newspaper. So in that case, you have to fold it in these shapes. So why in these shapes? Because this is the easier to make. If you can't make it round shapes, these are the straight shapes, so you have to use this kind of shape. There is no hard and fast rule. Now you have to be giving a field numbers. Numbers have to be given to the collections. It is a very important record. Own individual serial number. Suppose I go for collection to National Park today. So I will start my collection. I am in first year BSc. I will be starting my collection today. So my name is Chandra Datta. So I will be writing SD1, and I keep on increasing, entering the number till the date I will be collecting. Today I come back with maybe with specimen 100. So SD 100 will be the last number. Next time I go, it will be 101. So like this, so on and so forth. And information, similarly, corresponding information has to be incorporated on my field notebook also, that what is my specimen number 1, because afterwards when I come back to my lab, I will not remember what is my specimen 1 and what was there at that place. So field notes are important. Field diary has to be there. So each specimen should be numbered before it is put in the collection bag. Even if a species was collected previously during that, if there also has to be a name. For detailed notes should be entered in the field notebook at the time of the collection in the field itself. What will be the notes? Date of collection, vernacular names, uses, locality, habitat, altitude, associations, description, collector's name, and such other detail which you will not be seeing later on in the specimen. Do not keep on writing opposite leaf, alternate leaf, flower, axillary, and all, which you will be able to see later. Do not use, keep on using those which you will not be able to see, write those. And today GPS location is must for every specimen, and it is very easy to see. Take out the angle cam photograph and you will be there. Succulent specimens, you have to use this. And after there are different ways to collect different group of plants. Okay, so after you collect everything, how do you say for Asclepiadaceae member, for Apocynaceae member, they tend to, the leaves tend to fall. So what you have to do, as soon as you collect, earliest possible time, you have to dip all the specimen in a boiling water, which tend to be losing their leaves. So this will be killing the tissues so that your characters will be retaining. So simple leaf will not become a compound leaf, because I have seen many times the specimen becomes like this, alternate leaf in the field becomes opposite leaf in the herbarium sheet. Please don't do this. So you need to maintain such thing. Okay, so after the minute plants, for like aquatic plants, you have to collect them in mass. You have to inserting a wear press or the seed plate or a white paper. You will be putting it in the water and allow the plant to be floating on that. Spread it properly, take it out, and along with those paper or the muslin cloth, you will be putting it for pressing. For the specimens which has mucilage, for example, your Malvaceae members, you will be keeping a muslin cloth in between those mucilage sheet, and along with that you will be putting it inside the in the blotting paper. You will be changing along with the muslin cloth. See, all these details are written in my these things and notes. You can take this for your use. Fern should be collected, or on many of the herbaceous species, that bulbous plants, the rhizomatous plants, they should be collected with their basal portion, because the shape of rhizome, hairs, scales, etc., they are important taxonomic character. If the frond is too big, a portion of the frond, the basal portion must be collected, and exact size should be noted in the field notebook along with the other details. Hibiscus, as I told you, mucilaginous gummy specimens, they stick to the dryers or the papers. So what will you do is you should be placing a muslin cloth or any other thin cloth or in between the specimen and the paper. So along with that cloth, you will be changing while changing the specimen for drying. I hope you have understood this point. And then bigger specimen, as I have told you. Now, bulky specimen, you require special methods. You need to slice them. You need to dry well. You need some of the specimen. You need to some bulbous specimen. What we do, we tie them together and hang them and dry them. So there are different ways to. For lichens and bryophytes, you do not mount them on the sheet. There are separate packets are available. You have to make such packets of different size, and you will be placing them in it. After the drying is there, you will be mounting them on a sheet of paper, of thicker paper, of more GSM. So that is known as herbarium sheet. Now that herbarium sheet in India, standard size followed is 11.5 inch by 16.5 inches, and ideally it should be acid free paper so that it does not get spoiled by fungus or any other insect. So you should be taking care. You will be mounting them on the, see like this, you should be mounting, this is your herbarium sheet. You will be placing them you will spread them well. See that your the specimens are properly seen, your reproductive part, flower, fruit, everything, the upper side, lower side of the leaf, if they are different. For the ferns also it has, and on the right hand side corner, you will be mounting the level. Before doing the mounting, you have to treat it with the poison. So poisoning is to kill the tissues so that they don't get. In Bombay, we use mercury chloride in alcohol. In some of the places they use formalin, but the best to use the the boiling water, and that is how you kill the tissues. Fumigation is important, regular fumigation to kill the spades, or sometimes one keep the PDB in the cupboard. You can sprinkle it on the sheets also. Then you will be mounting, either you can mount it, you can paste it, paste and stitch, whatever you want to do, you can do it, but do it well, do it, spread it properly so that you can study. I do not prefer pasting because herbarium sheet is to be used for future study. Many a times you need to unmount them, or if the sheet is spoiled, then you need to unmount the specimen and change the sheet. So if you paste it, it will be of no use. So many of the herbaria, they use the pasting. I prefer pasting it with only with a strip of paper, not the gluing the plant material. Just use a tape, a narrow tape, if it is possible, acid-free tape. I have not yet got acid-free tape, but you can use any tape, but see to it that it does not get fungus. Surgical tape is better, so you can use it for mounting. Herbarium sheet you can mount, and then only one specimen should be placed on one sheet. As far as possible, lower part of the plant, such as root, is at the base of the sheet. There is some space left on the right hand side bottom of the label. If the label is already printed on the mounting sheet, then you need not leave any space. You can just do. Field number tagged with the plant is pasted in the proper straight position along with the thread. It should not be taken out. The field number which you had see here, you can see the label still there. So this is how you should be keeping tag when you go for collection. It should be there, and then gluing the plant on the sheet and stitching. As I told you, these are some of the good ways to make the herbarium sheet. And then comes the identification. Identification you cannot learn in one day. It has to be a regular process. So I am not. So herbarium labels, what are the information on the label? It should be 8 by 12 centimeter. Generally, it is standard size is 8 centimeter by 12 centimeter. Name of the family, name of the genus, species, locality of collection, date of collection. Remark need not be the, as I told you, leaf opposite, leaf simple, because those can be seen. Which you remark you have written on the field notebook, you should be writing collector's name, number, accession number. You should be putting vernacular name, and herbarium label is fixed on the bottom right corner, 1 centimeter away from the edge of the mounting sheet. Okay, and that's all. And okay, these are some of the information how you should be. So general checklist, what you should do in the field. So you need to record latitude, longitude, altitude, record values in decimal degrees, wait for at least 4 satellites before recording the data if you are using GPS data. Record make and model of the GPS unit what you are using. Note whether the coordinates are for specific specimen or a field site or plot. You have to make use of that. If you are for a field site or plot, make sure to note the extent of the field site or plot, means kitna bada area ke liye wo GPS number hai, you must have that. Habitat. So these are some of the description of what do I mean by habitat, what is habit, frequency, plant description. All these things should be mentioned in your field notebook. Some of the hint: a plant twig at least 25 centimeters. Specimens must be in fertile condition, either with flower, fruits, or preferably both, without which identification will not be possible. Tag the specimen. Every accession should be a different field number and relevant data. For example, the same plant collected from different locality or region must be a different collection number in sequence. Data such as collector's name, exact locality, date of collection, habit, habitat, etc. must be there. Collect at least 2 specimens, if not 4 of each, so that if one specimen is spoiled, the other can be there, or for distribution purpose. That depends on the herbarium policies. Okay, now question comes, what is the herbarium? I come, I collect some specimen, I keep it in my cupboard in the lab. Do I call it that yes, I have a herbarium? Yes, you do have a herbarium, but that has to be arranged in some particular manner. Like you follow Bentham-Manucher system, you follow APG system, you follow anything, you can do it. Most important, it has to have a associate library. Which library? Which is used for the taxonomic identification. And today's day, it is not difficult to have such library, as I have all my books are stored in my computer. I have downloaded all the books. You can go to Biodiversity Heritage Library, you can go to Botanicus and download all possible books for your reference. All the floras are available, not the Indian floras. Many of the Indian floras are not there. Recent floras are not there, but many of the classical literature are available on the net. They are free for use. Oh, in our time, we have to go to Blatter Herbarium, pay the amount and see. Today it is not required. That does not mean I am demoting somewhere my parent organization. Blatter Herbarium is Blatter Herbarium. Nobody can deny the importance of it. It is a classical herbarium, and we all owe all our respect to my mother organization, where I have learned everything, and to all my teachers who have taught me all these things, for which I could do whatever I could today. Okay, so it is very easy to do the herbarium study, but very easy to develop herbarium, provided you follow a step-by-step method. Okay, so if you have any question, I try to complete as much possible in this time. There are a lot of things which I should be talking, but some other day, or some more information is already shared in this presentation. This presentation can be made use by any of you, or anytime, any question. Today also you can get back to me immediately or anytime. Thank you all. Any question you can ask me.
Hello.
Yeah, Sushant, bolo.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Madam, is there any, what would be the best possible solution for preserving herbarium other than this harmful formaldehyde?
Mercury chloride. What I do, you know, in my herbarium, I tried keeping the specimen in oven for some time and tried keeping it in the drier places. Now I am changing it. I was keeping it in the wooden cupboard. Now I am changing it to the steel cupboard and using the naphthalene balls. Then I am keeping some herbs. Some herbs which can repel the insect. That is the best way, because in this humid condition in Bombay, it's really difficult. I am also struggling, but I am partially successful. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else? Any first year students? I would love to hear from first year students. Nevertheless, from anyone, but first year students, please ask me question. Any more question? Okay, if
Hello,
not
ma'am.
today, yeah.
How can we keep the wet material like lotus in the form of herbarium?
As I told you, I will go back to the bulky aquatic specimen. I will go back to that. You have to slice it. You have to slice it. First thing what you can do is hang it, dry it. Then slice the material and then press it. You
Okay.
can, in this, I have given you bulky material. Somewhere it is there, pressing of bulky material. Or if you want it, you can just dry it, hang it. Lotus, you have the underground part, you have the leaves. So dry it first, hang it, dry it, and then slice it. Make it V or N, or
Okay, ma'am.
make series of sheets. Series of sheets. Keep that label like this, 1A, 1B, 1C, like this.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Anybody else want to ask? I think no more question.
I think the no questions. Then I invite Dipali madam to say vote of thanks. Dipali madam, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly a pleasure to offer a sincere thank you. Let us begin by thanking our guest speaker, Dr. Suchendra Datta ma'am, for an enlightening and interesting session on herbarium. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your knowledge and experience with the students and teachers. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our principal, Dr. Madhav Rajwade sir, our vice principals, Dr. Nirkar sir, and Mrs. Pramodini Sawant ma'am for their constant support and encouragement. I would like to extend my gratitude to our head of Department of Botany, Jayashree Gaikwad ma'am, for organizing such a successful event with her excellent support and mentoring. A special thanks to all the teachers for gracing this occasion and also to the students for active participation. I would also like to thank Supriya Bede ma'am and Chaitali Pujare ma'am for technical support. Thank you once again to all.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. So we can leave, madam.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
The presentation, I have the PDF form I have already shared. You can share it with the students if anytime required. Anytime anything required, you can get that.
Definitely, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
ma'am. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a
Thank you so
wonderful
much,
presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you everyone for your kind support. Thank you, Rashmi Madam, Vandana Madam, Supriya Madam, Leela Madam, and of course, actually Suresh, Priyanka Madam, everyone for kind support on this first program. Done very nicely, actually. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you too, ma'am, for the first program of botanics.
यार सर told me कि you don't have a time. मैंने बोला सही नहीं, हमने अभी किया है तो आपको आना ही है. So he came for 5 minutes, then he left because he was busy with some meeting actually. There is in the college, there is a workshop is going on for the non-teaching. So he was busy from yesterday and today also. And the workshop organized them immediately in a hurry actually. So he was busy with that.
Okay.
So thank you everyone. Thank you Supriya and a special thanks to Chaitali madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
See, likewise actually we are going to start with the program. And Suresh is अच्छा ही बोलता ही है, लेकिन फिर भी हमने पहले एक मीटिंग लिया था कि क्या बोलना है, कैसे बोलना है. So it was good actually. At 1:30 we met and at what to do, what not to do, everything has been discussed. So likewise actually it's like a family. If you are going to organize a function, so everyone has to be there. See, there is one student as usual, SYBSC 15 Kadam.